A new territorial and civil administration. A preference for treaties. In 713, Abd Alis bin Musa subdued the forces of the Visigoth Count Theodemar, or Theudemir, who had taken over the southeastern Iberia from the base in Murica after the power vacuum following the King Roderic's defeat. Theudemir then signed a conditional capitulation by which his lands were made into autonomous client states under the Umayyad rule, the rule of God. His government and the Christian beliefs of the subjects were respected. In exchange, he pledged to pay a tax and to hand over any rebels plotting against the Umayyad rule or the Islamic religion. In this way, the life of many inhabitants remained much of the same as they were before Tariq and Musa's campaigns. The treaty signed with Tumadir set a precedent for the whole Iberia, and towns surrendering to Umayyad troops experienced a similar fate, including probably the Muwald Banu Qazi based in the Ebro Valley and the other counts and landowners. An exception to the pattern, some towns, Cordova, Toledo, etc., were stormed and captured unconditionally by the Umayyads, to the government by direct Arab rule. In the area thought, though, to be part of the King Roderic's territory, Merida also staged a prolonged resistance in the Umayyad advance, but was ultimately conquered in the mid-summer 712. As of 713 or 714, the last Visigoth king, Ardo, took over Aquila II and effectively controlled just over Septimia and probably the eastern Pyrenean threshold and coastal areas of the Tarraconensis. Islamic laws did not apply to all the subjects of the new rulers. Christians were ruled by their own Visigoth law code, the Forum Ludicrum, as before. In most of the towns and ethnic communities remained segregated, and newly arriving ethnic groups, the Syrians, the Yemenites, Berbers, and others, would erect new boroughs outside existing urban areas. However, this would not apply to the towns under direct Umayyad rule. In Cordova, the cathedral was partitioned and shared to provide for the religious needs of Christians and Muslims. This situation lasted some 40 years until Abdur Aram's conquest of southern Spain in 756. Taxation. An early governor of Al-Adanlis, Al-Harub ibn Abd al-Haram al-Tarafika, spread the rule of Umayyad Caliphate up to the Ebro Valley and the northeastern borders of Iberia, pacifying most of the territory and initiating in 717 the first forays across the Pyrenees into Septimia. In addition, he laid out the foundations of Umayyad civil administration in Iberia by sending civil administrative officials, judges, to be conquered towns and lands guarded by the garrisons established usually next to the population nuclei. Moreover, Al-Hurd restored lands to the previous Christian landowners, which may have added greatly to the revenue of the Umayyad governors and the Caliph of Damascus. By increasingly imposing a vitigala on the former, this was the tax applied on the specific region or state, and not per capitation. Only non-Muslims were subject to taxation, apart from the Muslim subject compulsory almsgiving. The task of establishing a civil administration is conquered in Al-Adonis was essentially completed by the government Yahid Salam al-Kahibe 10 years later. The first following Al-Hur's office saw the establishment of Arabs in the southern Septima during Al-Sam ibn Malik al-Khwali's tenure as wali. Narbonne fell 720, and no sooner had the garrison in all the Arab commander led an offensive against Toulouse. During the Umayyad trust on the aftermath, King Arbo died in 721.